Hey everybody, this is Elijah with Righteous River Fishing in Oregon. So did you buy a new trailer? If you did, I'm going to show you the very first thing you need to do when you buy a new trailer. Stay tuned. Okay, I just got this raft trailer that the purpose of this is actually to take more veterans and youth out fishing this year on a cataract that I'm saving up for. So check it out. You can see I've got it jacked up and I have the wheels off right now. But what I want to talk to you today about is servicing wheel bearings. And that is the most critical component of a trailer is the wheel bearings. What you don't want to do when you get a trailer is not to do anything with your wheel bearings. Now, at the very minimum, you should at least inspect them and refill them with new fresh grease. But if I'm going to buy a trailer, I know I'm going to have that trailer for years to come, and I need to make sure that it is 100%. So every time I'm towing, I have no question about what's going on. That's why the first thing I'm going to do is replace the wheel bearings, service the hubs, and probably get new tires. That's what we're going to be doing today. We're just going to be talking briefly about wheel bearings, servicing wheel bearings or replacing wheel bearings, and how to do your measurements to find out what you need. Super critical, guys. So if you have an RV, a boat, any type of a trailer, anything with wheels and bearings, you need to go ahead and do these checks. Now, the first thing you need to do is take off your wheel and take off your hub. Now, my hub, you'll see, actually has all the bearings and races already taken out of them. It's completely cleaned and painted. The condition of this was really horrible. I didn't want to rebuild it. I wanted to buy it, but the part was not available. So all you really got to do that is there's a cotter pin and a nut. You take those off, you pop your hub off, and now you have something to work with. Clean it up, and you punch out all the parts, and you can take a look at those so you can order new parts. Now, my number one recommendation is not to rebuild these. I mean, if you have the skill, go ahead, but do the simple thing. Find out which hub you need and order the entire hub. Take it off, bolt a new one on, put your wheels on, fill it, put bearing buttings on, fill it with grease, and you're done. But in my circumstance, these hubs were not available. I tried everything. I even ordered a hub. It didn't fit. So what I ended up having to do is punch out each individual race and bearing, look at those numbers, order the parts, and now what we're going to do is put on a rebuilt hub. Now, to find out what size bearings you need, it is important to do two things. There's two measurements. There's an inside bearing and an outside bearing. You need the diameter of those. Now, there's two types of shafts. There is a straight shaft that is the same size on both ends, which is a very simple one, and this is a tapered shaft. So there is a larger bearing in the back and a smaller bearing in the front. But what you really need is a pair of dial calipers to see what size those are. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and get a reading on the outer bearing. Okay, dial calipers say that it is about 0.75. So 0.75 inches is the inner diameter of the outer bearing. Then we're going to go to the back, the flat spot. Yeah, 1.25. 1.25. Got a measurement of 1.25, so 1.25 inches. Once you have those measurements, then you're able to actually get the parts that you need. Also, if you can't locate the parts you need from the measurements, I highly recommend that you just go on to the race or the bearing and look for the race or bearing number. That is going to be your most accurate way to get the correct parts. Bearings, they can be really dirty, but if you clean them off, you're going to find a part number here, like this one, 15123. This is the new part. That's what I got off the old part, okay? Now you're going to see that it's not always easy to find those numbers. These are actually my old parts, okay? They're absolutely disgusting, but it's critical that you go ahead and take those out, wipe them down, and look for your part number. I can see a part number right there. Look at that. 89191. That's a seal. And there's the bearing right there. 15168. If you have a difficult time locating the correct parts, I recommend that you clean these off, right? And get your numbers and call a trailer shop. Look at that, 15123. Call a trailer shop and actually have them help you match up and get the correct hub or bearings. Also, it is really a good idea to not use Chinese garbage bearings. Go with a brand that is good. Like this one's National, it's a little bit cheaper. Timken is another very good name. There's some really good names out there, and SKF. So stick with really good parts here. Here is a hub that has been cleaned by myself. I punched out all the races, cleaned it, and painted it. So we are ready to go ahead and assemble. So I am going to assemble these, but I do want to tell you that, you know, you need some really good grease. So I've got some marine grease here from Lucas. Excellent grease. And really what we're going to do is we're going to put these in without damaging them. So you never want to replace just a bearing without the race. Those things spin and wear together, and they leave wear patterns in the race. You always want to replace the race and the bearing together. They're sold separately, but buy them both and put them in. You can use a brass punch or something metal to punch out the old ones. It doesn't really matter if it's brass to punch out the old ones because you're going to replace them. But when you put these new ones in, you do not just want to take metal and pound this in. So what we're going to do is we're going to lube this up with some grease. We're going to get this race. We're going to put the old race on top of it or a socket, and we're going to use a block of wood, and we're going to tap it in. That's going to go out here. Then we're going to pack this bearing full of grease, pop it in there. That's going to be the outer bearing. Same thing with the inside. We are going to lube that. We're going to put that race in there. Don't put it in backwards. We're going to punch it in gently. You do not want to damage this. We're going to pack that full of grease. We're going to put that in there. And then these hard to find seals, we're going to gently tap that in, make it flush. That's going to be our completely rebuilt hub. We're going to put that on. All you got to do is put the nut on, snug it up, put your cotter pin on, make sure it's full of grease. And then, of course, the final touch would be to use these bearing buttings, put them on the end, pump them full of grease, get your wheels on, and you're going to have some rebuilt hubs. Okay, as dirty as those old races are, you need them to help you put in the new races. So get those dirty old races out, clean them off the best you can. We're going to use those to punch in the new ones without causing damage to the new races. And there we go. Those are clean enough. We're going to use those to help install the new races. All right, let's see what we can do with these races. I've got a little workstation here. I've got my new races. I do want to put just a tiny bit of grease on the inside. I want to make this, you know, go in as easy as possible. Good. This hub's going to be filled with grease anyway, so that grease doesn't hurt a thing. There we go. Make sure you don't put this race in backwards. It's tapered on purpose, so the number on the back, on the bottom, goes down to the bottom. Put a little bit of grease on here. There we go. Okay. Now, we have our old race, right? We're going to use that as a guide to tap it in. We're going to use a block of wood. We're going to do several hits here. Look at you. It immediately started going in. It went halfway in. You have to have it flush. You can't have this crooked. So, good. See, it's a little bit off, but it'll go. You're going to end up hitting this until it bottoms out. That wood is soft. There you go. It's just straightened up. I can actually get it partway in with just this block of wood right in the center. Okay, now it's almost flush. Now we're going to have to really rely on this bearing to help get it down in there. You still have a little ways to go. Oh, we don't want this race to get stuck though. Oh man, it's kind of stuck. The nice thing is you can use pliers and stuff to get this race out. There we go. You see that? I just barely tapped it and it came out. So what I did wrong is I let that race go down too far, but now I'm going to use this. This is a extension, but it's a little bit smaller than that. So that's going to help me drive it all the way down. I think that's all the way down. There we go. Yep. No gap. Okay. There we go. It's seated. The bottom of the race is against the big tabs that come out, so we know that that's all the way down. Okay, let's do the other side. Same thing, a little bit of grease in here. Lesson learned, be very careful not to punch it in too far. Okay, new race, a little bit of grease on it. There you go. There we go. This one's a little looser, so it's already starting. Get your bad race and start to tap it in. We can punch it. There we go. Now I do want to get a larger socket that will fit that. For now, we're going to get a couple taps like this, real gentle. See if we can get it just recessed a little bit. There we go. Oh, I got it stuck. There we go. Now I need to find a large socket that will fit on the rim of that so I can tap it the rest of the way down. Okay, we have ran into a dilemma, which is fairly common. The hardest part of this video is to find a socket or something that's this large that can help you to pound this race in there. Now, if I pound this in, it's going to get stuck like the last one did. So you need it to be just a slight hair smaller so it can catch that lip. I don't have anything. So what I'm actually going to have to do is do something that is not the best idea, and that is to slowly tap this with this flat surface, ease it down in there. You have to be very careful because if you nick that, you could cause problems to your bearing. Now, your bearing only sits on the actual milled surface inside, but you have to be very careful of this lip. So it's my only choice right now, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to just ease it around, small taps, try to work it down there without causing damage. Gentle, gentle, there we go. No nicks. Okay, so that was a challenge. There's no nicks, we were gentle. The best thing would be is to have a brass punch. I still don't have one, I need to find one. They're very expensive. If you have a brass punch with a flat end, it's like this, but it's just flat, all in a circle, circular. But it's a soft metal. You can tap that down with guaranteeing no damage because the brass is much softer than this. So let's go ahead and punch in the other hub and then we'll pack the bearings and get them in there. Okay, I lost one of my microphones, so hopefully you can hear me okay. We have the races on both sides put in. Now before we put the seal in the back, you need to get this bearing packed. Now there is two ways to pack bearings. There's an old school way and a new school way. I actually have a bearing packer. It's like this little plastic sandwich thing. You sandwich it down, has a Zerk fitting on the top. You squirt the grease in, it pushes it through, okay? I'm not gonna do that right now because I'm actually going to end up filling it with the bearing buddy at the end. But I'm gonna do the old school way that I learned in the military. And you might wonder, like, where did I learn basic mechanics like this? United States Air Force. They're the ones that taught me. I was a mechanic in the Air Force, and so, you know, I learned how to pack bearings a long, long time ago. But this is the old school way that they taught me to do. So basically, you're gonna get grease in the palm of your hand. So I'm just gonna get a nice little ball here. I'm gonna take this bearing, because we're gonna do the back ones first, and you're gonna hold it like this, and you're just gonna push down on there. As you push down into the cup of your hand, the bearing, the grease is gonna start to push out the back. Keep going, recycle the grease. You're just pushing it through. When you keep pushing it like that, eventually it's gonna start pushing out the back side of the bearing. Once you do that, you're gonna know that thing is pretty full. I could get a little more grease in here. It's already coming out the back, but I wanna get a little more, make sure, and I'll just get straight to the second bearing. Oops, on my coat. Good thing I'm wearing a work coat. Like that. See? It's coming out the back of the bearing. It's messy, folks. There ain't no doubt about that, but it's okay. So I'm feeling good with that bearing. I'm gonna go ahead and, I can't flip this over, my hands are pretty dirty. That's alright. We're gonna go ahead and say that bearing's good. I'll do all four right now. Same thing with the next one. Just push it into that cup of your hand until those bearings are full. Yeah, it's old school, but you know what? It works just the same. Good enough. I'm going to do the small ones too, so we'll be ready to go. Always use high quality grease. Don't skimp with this stuff. I mean, you're talking about your trailer. You do not want to have a malfunction, you know what I'm saying? Alright. Alright, we're going to clean up and we'll be right back. Okay, the final step of rebuilding these hubs is to put these seals on. Now this is actually easy. You don't need any special tools because it just needs to be flush. So drop your bearing in. Right, there we go. Put a little bit of grease on that seal, same thing. Inside and out. Oopsie. Now you got to be real careful with these seals though. I can almost push it on by hand. Oh, there we go. Okay, I didn't even need to. Look at that. It actually went on by hand. I didn't even need to, but I'm using wood. It's not going to injure it. You just want it flush. You do not want it recessed down in there, okay? Second bearing, here we go. Hub, rather. Bearings in there. There we go. Get some grease on this seal. Inside and out. Let's see if this one. Oh, I don't even need to. Okay. These are older hubs, so they probably don't have as tight of tolerances as we would want, but they both just pushed in. They're flush. We're good to go. And the last thing is we're just going to drop in our last bearing here. Might as well just lube this race. Okay. Drop the bearing in. There we go. And then what covers up this this bearing is the there's a washer that goes over there, and then a nut, and then a cotter pin, and that's what's going to hold this on. But if you think about it, our hub is completely rebuilt, new races, new seals, and new bearings. Let's make sure we have all the rest of the lug nuts, cotter pin, washers, make sure it's all clean, ready to go. And then we're going to get under there and pop these on. Okay, last thing you need before we put this back together are your keyway washers, right? Your nuts there, and you need some cotter pins. So when you take out old cotter pins, you throw them away. I happen to have this stash, so one of these should fit. But those three parts, basically a cotter pin, those three things you'll need on each one to put that back together. Okay, we are almost done. Now I do want to tell you that these have to be not pitted. They have to be smooth. I've already cleaned these before, but I'm going to go ahead and clean them again. If they are really rusted, you can use a little very fine sandpaper to clean this whole spindle here, okay? So, but I'm going to use a little bit of brake cleaner here just to make sure. Wipe it off. You just want it as clean and smooth as possible before you put your bearings on. Good. I'm even going to take this off. I think I already lubed that, but the cleaner you can be, the better. We're going to lube this, and then we're going to go ahead and put on our hubs. So even though our bearings are lubed, we still want to lube this up real nice. Doesn't have to be incredibly thick. You don't have to get it on the threads, just on everything else. Okay, it's going to protect it, and it's going to help it all to go on real good. There you go. Just a thin coating. There you go. All right. That back bearing is already lubed up real good. Oh, front bearing's trying to come off. There we go. Just twist it on back till it snugs. There we go. That is on. Let's get our parts here. Okay, these washers have a keyway in them, and the spindle does as well. So that'll line up perfect. They'll seal that up. Put your nut on. Tighten it down. You don't want it, here's the trick, you don't want it super tight. So, okay, you don't want any play, but you don't want it super tight. And there's a hole in your spindle right there that you want to line up. Make sure it's snug. Use your wrench and then line up the cotter pin and put it in there. I'm gonna experiment with this to find the right position. Oh, there we go. That's tight, but not too tight right there. Hub still is not too tight, I don't think. I like it. It's not too tight. I like it. And that hole, well, let's see. Is that too tight for me? No, that's good. I like it. Yeah, I do. The only other option would be to back all the way down to the next notch. Ah, that'll work too, truthfully. That's good enough. There's no play. So there you go. Not too tight. Okay, I found a cotter pin that I like. There's also a couple ways to put these on, but at the end of the day, all you gotta do is put it in there nice and snug. Take some pliers. I'm gonna take this and bend it out over the front. You can also bend them around the sides, but I don't like to do that. I'm actually gonna use this, put this one out in the front too. There we go. There we go. That hub is completely rebuilt, like brand new. All I need to do now is put the wheel on, make sure I have some lug nuts, and this side's done. We'll go do the other side. Looks good. All right, so right now I have an option between bearing buddies, which are very beneficial because it makes it lubing these easy, or these beautiful chrome caps for the new wheels. But the problem is, I don't think I have enough clearance to even use these chrome caps, so unfortunately they will not work on this application. That's a waste of money. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can pound these on. Hopefully that washer is not in the way. Hopefully they'll fit. We're about to find out though. Yeah, they go. Okay, bearing buddies are installed. They have a spring system in here, so I can go ahead and take my grease gun, fill this with the Zerk system. It's going to fill all that hub with grease, and then each year or every 6 months I can probably add some more grease very easily without tearing anything apart, and I know my bearings are good. So, and I'll document on the title that I did this work here. I will need to order caps for these, but not a big deal. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this with grease, and then we're going to put our wheels on. Okay, last step. I have my grease gun, but I need to make sure that it is marine grease in here. I can't trust that it's the right grease, and I need to have good grease. So, okay, it is good high quality grease, but it's not marine grease. It's extra heavy duty grease. So I'm going to swap this tube out. I'm going to pump it until the new grease comes out, and then we're going to go ahead and fill up our bearing buddies. Okay, green grease, we want to get it till it's blue. It's already blue, almost. Oh, there we go. Blue grease. Green, blue. We're good. Now we can grease it. We just want to slowly put it in there until grease starts to come out somewhere. Probably in the back seal, but we'll see where it comes out. And this spring thing should move out because it's getting full of grease. Yep, it's coming out right now. I'm gonna say that's good. Okay, for now we're gonna drive that for a while, and then we're gonna top it off later. But that's how you do the bearings. Now we need to get the wheel, find some lug nuts and get that wheel on. It's tough to see it, folks, but that is a fully rebuilt hub. Fully greased, fully rebuilt, new races, new seals. Bearing buddy, I need to get a cap for it. Last step is to put on these brand new trailer wheels and tires that kind of match my truck. Really nice. And I need to get some lug nuts, and we're going to be on the road with this trailer. Alright, we got some locking lug nuts. We're going to see if they fit. Look pretty good. Nice shiny chrome. Hopefully they fit good. We'll find out. Check out how clean it looks with the new wheels on there. Those hubs are absolutely perfect. Let's try to zoom in a little bit. Look at that. Clean. Clean, clean, clean. Same on that side. Everything's clean for now. Oh man, wheels look real good. All we need now is the bearing buddy caps. They'll be in here in a couple days, Let's put this back on the ground, torque these lug nuts. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that some of the basic stuff would be helpful to you. Just remember, like, don't trust the previous owner. Even if the previous owner says, I just packed the wheel bearings, I just put new bearings on it. If they don't have receipts and are from a mechanic or something, don't trust them. Get in there, pop your wheels off. You might have to tear your bearings out to inspect them yourself, but that's the only way you can ensure that you're going to be safe. I mean, you're going to have expensive cargo on here. You're going to have your family in the car. The last thing you need to do is trust somebody else. Go in there, inspect it for yourself. If you have any doubt, order brand new hubs. If you can't get the hubs, then go ahead and order the seals, races, and bearings. Do it yourself, and then you're going to feel confident that for years to come, you're going to be safe out there on the road. So, thanks so much for watching. I am going to include a quick clip of me putting on these nice wheels. Anyways, that's about it. God bless you guys. Thank you so much. Make sure you're safe out there. Get on the water. Go enjoy God's creation and catch some fish. God bless you. Take care. Get these nice wheels on.